Howdy there, folks. Welcome back to the Isle of Whithe. Um, Due to some technical difficulties, this episode is not going to be streamed. So, to the recording audience, welcome to it. You guys are the only ones who get to see it this time around. When last we left our persons of interest, they were in the town of Slachow. They were halfway through collecting a number of books for their I suppose a boss would be the best way to put it. Um in the next town over, and they had met a very interesting minotaur. It is now, as dawn breaks over the Kinyazi Dominion. Um the five of you variously rouse yourselves from sleep and make your way downstairs to the base of this inn that you guys are all staying in for now.
Aki is going to walk down to like the main area, take a seat, and just kind of do some morning stretch. Just make the day get started, and um, he's just gonna kind of take in the scene, see if it's busy in this morning. Is it like Are there a lot of folks just coming in for breakfast this morning?
Um, there aren't, but you see some foot traffic going on outside. Folks heading around to various fields around the town to work.
Mm, okay.
Um, but inside, the what looks like the innkeep's son is manning the kitchen and is prepping and seems to be frying up an egg.
Uh, Aki will just walk up to the counter and just yell, good morning."
The late teenager looks up. Yeah, what is good about it?
We woke up alive.
You should raise your standards for what is a good morning.
Some might say that it's a blessing to be alive, I guess. Anyways, if I
People are
can,
wrong about a lot of things.
that is true. That is very true. If I can have an egg and some toast as well, I would highly appreciate it.
Excuse. He walks over. Then he, what are we doing? Are we serving them food? Like, what is the plan? I do not know. Your father says that Kenyas will handle all of the expenses. Okay, okay, all right. He comes back. This one is for me. How do you like your eggs?
Same way you're cooking it right now.
The reaches over, pulls out, and he he disappears again. He comes back with another egg, cracks it, starts frying it up right next to his.
And then Aki will just kind of take a
Comes
seat.
Pulls out like a small, like, single person loaf of bread. Um, Cuts it in half, um, broadwise, and sets that also on the griddle to toast up.
Aki is going to just kind of pull out a little journal or something, and he's gonna jot down just kind of what he's done in the past couple of days, just kind of mindlessly just writing about everything, documenting what he can while he waits for the rest of his friends. Yes, almost died twice. He'll mention uh, people turning to stone, people going insane, met some interesting folk, and really learning about the culture of what's around us. And he's just gonna lose track of his surroundings as he continues to just keep scribbling in his journal.
All right, so Aki is scribbling in his journal while he waits for food. Let's go alphabetically. Carmine, what are you doing this morning?
Yeah, I was actually thinking about having a bath, but he said it first. Um,
I
Fucking
mean, if
obeyed.
you
I'm,
would
I'm
like to have,
stealing
okay,
Chef's idea.
all right. Um,
Um, I have coin. Where do I pay?
um, you come down the stairs. You see Aki out at a table scribbling away in his journal. You see the teenager um behind the counter cooking. You also see who you think is his mother. You walk up and ask for a bath. And she looks you up and down. Da da da. Um, there is a basin at the follow, and she leads you to a small back room with a large thigh-high basin that's about person sized. Um, you won't be able to stretch out really, but you'll be able to wash yourself.
Um, okay. Well, how much for the bath?
The Kinya said that he would handle it,
Oh,
and she waves her hand in the air and she turns and walks out.
okay.
So yeah, you're having a bath first thing in
Um,
the morning before they can heat
yeah,
up any of the water.
it's okay. Sebastian has his bucket next to me.
Sebastian and Sebastian, as you swap out the water in his bucket. Honestly, I mean, this is kind of nice. I haven't
I'm
peed in this
sorry.
water yet.
Oh,
Oh my.
okay.
Yep. What's on your mind?
Um, that I've had a very long day yesterday, almost dying, and that this bath is very nice. And I should probably get new clothes because these are a little dingy.
Sebastian pokes his head up out of the bucket. Kami, Look, I'm an amphibian, so all of you mammals all kind of look the same to me. But the outfit that you're wearing is worth more than some of the people in this fucking town making a year. All right?
I guess that's fair.
So just because it's maybe not quite what you're used to, I think that we both need to get used to living a life that is not necessarily the one that we wish that we could be. For example, you might need to wear clothing that is of a slightly lower quality, and I might need to put up with mammals that aren't you. By the way, you know the thing that I said earlier about the water being nice?
Mm,
Never mind about it.
okay.
What can I say? Nature called.
Just please don't give the rest of my acquaintances E. coli, please. Or cholera.
Are they planning to drink it? Like what?
I don't know. We have a little rat with us, okay, Sebastian?
That's true. That is true. Rats have a strong immune system, right?
Yeah, they also spread things. I'd rather not.
That sounds like a him problem and not a me problem.
Unless I'm dead, then you can't talk to me anymore. Then you really have to deal with the other mammals.
All
Sorry,
right.
the cat's me on.
So,
If you can hear her, sorry.
no, it's fine. It's fine. All right. So, Kami, you remember how I'm a familiar, right?
Yeah.
You know that means that if you aren't around anymore, that I go back to being with the boss,
Yeah, we don't
like
talk
all
about
the
Big
time.
Boss, okay?
I know that you don't want to talk about it, but like that's what's gonna happen.
Well, then we have to make sure I stay alive so you don't have to deal with him.
Eh, he's not all that bad all the
Uh,
time.
uh-huh.
What's the matter? Are you scared?
I'm sure it's only a matter of time before we get another request from him.
Well, yeah, that's how this works. But I'm not the one who signed the deal, now am I?
Don't remind me.
Kami, I exist to remind you. I am here to remind you. I am proof that sometimes you need to be reminded.
You know what's funny? You know what this conversation reminds me of, Sebastian?
Talk to me.
I had a dream once that there was this little weird imp devil thing that was
Hmm.
constantly coming back and reminding me for some reason in this dream. Was it me? I don't know. Felt like me, but it wasn't me. But the people around me were not familiar. And they kept kicking this thing down a mountain over and over and over again. And somehow it would pop back up. I didn't really like that. The cat is tweaking. So sorry if you can hear
No,
her.
no,
Um,
that sounds like an interesting FIFA dream.
I know, right? And I'd rather not develop that relationship with you. Okay,
So
Sebastian?
let's just avoid mountains. Gotcha.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
Hey, hey.
But what if Big Boss is on the mountain?
Big Boss isn't on the mountain. Big Boss is under a mountain.
Okay, cool, cool.
Hey, coming, coming.
What?
Then he raises one of his front legs and he just kind of gestures you to come closer.
She's gonna lean over the basin.
I'm not just here to remind you. I'm also here to help. All right? You're not that bad for a mammal. He stares up at you with his unblinking amphibian eyes.
Um, I appreciate that. I'll try not to yeet you from any relevant height, even if you give me a reason to, which you already have, and you know that. But that's just
Yeah,
how it is.
but let's face it, you ain't gonna do that to me.
Nah, I'm too nice for that. Sometimes.
I'm too pretty.
She's gonna like purposely splash water on him.
Ooh, that's nice. A little more,
Okay,
please.
no, no, too far, Sebastian. Sorry.
I know. So, is there anything else you need to get off of your chest, or do you just want me to get back into my bucket while you
Um,
wash yourself?
Other than this layer of dirt on my chest, nothing else. You
All
can
right,
settle back into your pee bucket.
mind swapping the water out again?
Jesus Christ.
Who's that? Is that some kind of food? Kind of
she's
sounds like
gonna,
cheese.
she's gonna swap out the water.
Carmine, is there anything else you'd like to do in the morning other than like
um,
eat?
she'll join Aki at the table.
All right,
Um, she'll just wait for the crew.
all right.
Place a very satisfying thunk on the table of Sebastian so he can watch Aki do whatever Aki's doing.
As she thunks it, Aki just kind of jolts into reality from what he was writing, and he just looks over. Oh, good
You are
morning.
face to face with a toad.
Oh,
You stare into his eyes, and he stares into yours.
morning, Sir Sebastian.
The rest of the world starts to fall away as you stare into the toad's eyes.
Oh
There
no.
is only Toad. All hail Toad. All glory to the Toad. And then in a
Aki,
breath, you blink, and and whatever it is drops away.
Aki looks away, finally blinking, and he looks over at
Carmine,
Carmine.
they were looking at each other for like 2 seconds.
Um, she's gonna be sweating bullets as to whether or not Big Boss tried to do something or is straight up just Sebastian being a dickhead.
No, no, they were they caught each other for like a half a second. Nothing happened.
It was a
Okay,
very
I
cool.
just like
touching
making
moment.
I just like making hypnotoad jokes about Sebastian.
Aki looks over at Carmine and he goes, "Good morning, Lady Carmine. Um, do you want something to eat?"
Um, yeah, actually, now that I think about it, I feel a bit famished. And besides, everything's on the house, so might as well take what we can get.
How do you like your eggs made?
Carmen's gonna think to herself over the comment that Sebastian made to her that we need to she needs to basically lower her standards. Um, she likes poached eggs, but obviously that's like a higher level request. So she's just gonna stare at does Aki have food on his plate?
Um, I believe the food was served. It's a full plate of a fried egg with pan fried toast.
Mm.
That's it. I think he most likely would have maybe also ordered like whatever morning juice or milk that they had.
It's milk.
Definitely milk then.
um, she's just gonna settle for whatever, literally exactly what Aki has on his plate, to try and like learn how to fit in better. Um,
You interrupt
but
the teenager who is now trying to eat a fried egg on a slice of toast, kind of all at once, like half a sandwich. Da da. And cracks another egg and starts going. Takes another like loaf of a heavy brown wheat bread, cuts it in half widthwise, sets that to toasting.
I do have a peculiar request. I don't know if you guys have this.
Duh.
Do you perchance have any blood sausage?
There's sausage, yes.
Got it. I'm good, thank you. And she's gonna go back to where Aki's sitting.
Aki hearing the name that just kind of like perks his ears a little bit, and he just never heard of something like that before. And just looks over at Carmine and goes, what is blood sausage?"
Quite frankly, it's what you think it is. Um, have you ever heard of black pudding?
"I've heard of normal pudding."
mm. Perhaps Chef will be able to explain that better than I will. I just eat it. I like it a lot. So maybe whenever Chef comes down, we can ask him and he can have him explain it for you. Maybe he can make me
Speaking of
some.
chef,
Actually,
speaking of chef, you woke up an hour ago. What are you gonna be getting up to?
Wash face, go downstairs, look
All
at
right.
the teen boy in the kitchen.
Uh-huh.
Need some help back there, man?
Yep.
Fair enough. What kind of feeds y'all got?
Discipline. There's eggs. Katarina's coming back with the milk, and there's food if you need it.
You got bacon?
Duh.
All right, let me get a pound of bacon, half a dozen eggs, and a whiskey.
Do you want any of that cooked, or do you just want that raw?
I mean, I can cook it if you want. That's what I do there, man. But if you would prefer to cook it, feel free. Don't cook the whiskey. The whiskey's for drinking.
He pulls out a bowl and he carefully sets 6 eggs into it, and they bake, and I'll need to go into the back.
Much appreciated, youngin'.
And you slip into the door behind the counter. Do you have your apron with you?
Yes.
Okay, you make sure that your apron is appropriately in place and sufficiently clean, and you start cooking your eggs however you want. And he comes, and after a couple of minutes, he comes out with a like, how much does bacon weigh per volume?
A pound. It's a
Yeah, but I'm
one
trying
for
to figure
one.
out like how much is a pound of bacon.
It's a one for one. It cooks down. It's not a pound. It's a pound pre-cook weight, not a pound post-cook weight.
Yes, it's a pound pre-cooked weight, but like how much is a pound of bacon? How large is that going to be?
Size-wise, if you're going like from a store strips, you're looking probably 4 inches by, I don't know, 6 inches, 8 inches. With individual strips that are anywhere from an eighth, well, a 16th to a quarter-inch thick. So anywhere from usually
20,
12
25
to
slices. Okay.
12 to 15 slices.
It's
to,
like a solid chunk of bacon.
Yeah.
And it is pretty clear that this is salted or has been salt. Is like you got it out of the salt pork barrel.
Just like I like it.
So you set it to soak for a little bit. Massage off all of the crystals because it is inedibly salty.
Oh yeah, you soak your
Fresh out
salted
of
pork.
salt pork. And yeah, if it's salted, so it's edible if you just want to eat it straight. But if you want to like fry it up,
Oh, I'm gonna
do that
soak it
too.
while I'm cooking my eggs and then fry it.
All right. And are you going to go out front to eat, or are you going to
Yeah,
eat
I'm
in the
gonna
back?
go. I'm gonna go eat with the guys. He said
All
he
right.
was good.
That's sure. He has you at like the main section, and he just starts making his breakfast quietly quietly at the window behind you. And you hear Carmine ask about blood sausage, and your first thought is, "Oh, you beat black pudding."
I will ask. Hey man, y'all got any black pudding?
Maybe.
You mind if I go check?
He points in the back, second door on the left.
I will go to a hunt for black pudding.
Okay. Let me grab a character sheet right quick.
Food lore or lore cooking or
I'm actually gonna be I'm actually going to say perception, please. All right, on a 14. So um Yeah, you know what? They are going to have black pudding. And it's made up with barley groats, and it's pork. And you're more familiar with it being made out of beef.
Link or Patty?
Um, it is it's about 2 feet long and about 2 inches around.
Okay, I'll cut her off 4 or
But it
5
was like,
slices of decent thickness.
all right.
And did I hear her
And
say poached egg?
no, she didn't say poached egg out loud.
Okay.
She thought to herself that she likes poached eggs because she forgot that she was working with a proper chef and not just some schlep
Yep.
teenager. We really need to remember to do chef first because
Yes.
asking you guys, because that just having him make you guys food would be something really cool.
That's what he's here for. That and killing. Or trying to and failing miserably at it. So I will go back and griddle her up some blood pudding, and what I'll do on the plate, I will do the blood pudding in 4s and do a over medium egg over the top of it and sprinkle on little parsley or something. Little parsley, little pepper.
Okay.
Aki is gonna sit up from his stool, peek over to watch the whole cooking process.
You have
Like,
to stick your head through the window to watch Chef work.
oh, damn it. He's just gonna sit and then wait for the smell-o-vision then.
I guess once I get mine cooked and hers cooked, I will take them out to the table and go back for my cup of whiskey.
If she wanted Krovyanka, why didn't she ask for it?
It's a regional thing, man. We are not familiar with your colloquialisms in these here parts.
Krovyanka, that's just the name of that. That's what it's called.
That is what it is called here, sir.
Who are you to know better?
I'm a chef where I come from across the sea, and over there we call it black sausage, blood pudding, whatever you want to call it. We do not, in fact, call it Provenyanka.
Krovyanka.
Sorry.
DB, beyond the blood sausage Wikipedia page, and scroll down until I see Eastern Europe.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. I knew most of the ingredients, but I looked up a proper recipe to tell Aki if he asked.
Which he will once it's brought out.
Oh yeah, you smell this.
Aki's just gonna kind of eye it as it's coming out to be served. And he's just kind of eyeing it as if it's the most amazing looking thing ever.
Chef will... Go ahead, sorry.
It is some kind of sausage. It's wrapped in a pig's intestine, and it's full of Actually, you know what? Chef, take it away. Describe this for us.
Well, I will walk out and set her plate down in front of her. Over easy egg and her blood pudding, madame. Sit down and take a sip of whiskey and start eating. Aki is free to ask if he would like.
Sorry.
Go ahead, sorry.
Carmine's just gonna look at him look at the plate that's now steaming in front of her as the black pudding smell fills her nostrils. And she's just gonna look at him with her big ol' eyes. Tears are gonna well up, and all of a sudden she's just gonna lean over and just give him the biggest hug possible, no questions asked.
You ain't tasted it yet.
It's okay. It's the effort. No one's ever really done this much effort for me. You can even ask Sebastian.
Speaking of which, we getting him a barrel today or not?
I don't know,
bear-
Sebastian. What do you want?
What do I want? I want a lovely, lovely female frog. I want money. I want power. I want peace and quiet. I want a homeland, place that I can just call my own, a nice little pad of my own. What do I want? What does everybody want? I mean, I want to light this place on fire. But yeah, a bigger bucket would be nice.
All right, then we shall make that happen there, little man. Or pardon me, Mr. Frog, sir.
I like this one. He has some respect.
Any being that can talk to me in my own damn head is worthy of acknowledgement.
Mm.
So, if Aki would like to ask the question.
As Aki is just watching or looking at the dish, he just goes, "So, what is it? What is this?"
That there, sir, is blood sausage or black pudding. Depending on what ingredients you can get, you can make it with rice, you can make it with buckwheat, you can make it with oats. You essentially pour in the blood, you cut up some onions, you mix it in with herbs, you put it in a casing, if you know what I mean. You boil it, and then the way I was taught to cook it is after it's boiled and settled, you let it rest, and then as necessary, you cut off slices of said sausage and grill them.
Interesting. And Aki is just making notes on this. He goes, "It's interesting. I've never thought about using blood to save parts of the animal after you've hunted it before."
Oh, buddy, you gotta use all parts of it. Otherwise, you're just wasting one of the universe's creatures for nothing.
Typically, it's the parts that we don't use. Where I'm from, we've been using them for more of our medicinal purposes and alchemical properties.
Yeah, but the wrong way around. You don't use the blood to preserve the things around it. You cook the blood in the rest of it as a means of preserving the blood. It's important when you eat because it's important to use as much of the animal as possible. And then the intestine casing, well, where do you think sausage comes
That's just for pure flavor, man.
I knew that part. Just have never thought of using blood before.
What's the matter? Are you too good a person to eat blood?
There are a
No,
lot of
just-
nutrients in blood.
Yeah.
Just never really occurred to me.
Mm.
Had lots to learn. It's from a very small part of the world. So this is kind of a lot of things are new to me right now.
So, what about you there, Mr. Frog? You need any foods?
Nope,
Fair enough.
I'm doing just fine. Hey, Jinx. It's early in the morning, you smell food cooking, and it's food that's not going in your belly, and that's a problem. You should fix that.
Jinx comes stumbling downstairs. Her pigtails are all askew, and she's half asleep. Is there coffee? She comes and climbs up on top of the table and sits in the install on the table and picks up a piece of chef's bacon and starts eating it.
Jeff, did you make coffee?
Did we buy coffee? I can't remember.
I have coffee in my supplies.
He'll hold his hand out to get the coffee.
She goes digging through her pack, just kind of throwing shit around, and pops a giant bag of ground coffee over to him.
Anything else, little lady?
I'll just nibble off of your plate. Takes another piece of bacon and starts eating it.
Alright. Chef will go in the kitchen, get another whiskey, make more coffee, cook her up a couple eggs and some bacon. And some toast.
I feel like
And-
you're going to come back and she's just taking everything that's left on your plate.
That's why I'm cooking more. And,
That was kind of pretty much my thought.
and as he's walking out, he's going to holler back, "Can somebody go see what Furman wants for breakfast?"
Well, if that's not a throw, I don't know what is. So, Leftman, good morning. Welcome to it.
Hey. As Lefman's coming to, I want him to smell the nice aroma, fresh food, eggs, bacon, all the good stuff. But he feels like he's missing one distinct smell. Smell of cheese. I wanted him to come on running on down, ready to at least eat some food.
Mhm.
As he sees everybody. What do we
All
got?
Jinx answers with a mouthful of bacon.
Great, but what about cheese?
Well, we definitely just kind of shrugs and points towards the kitchen.
We got eggs and we got toast, and apparently we have blood sausage. I haven't seen any cheese yet.
Can Lefman see, Chef?
Jeff, can you see Leftman?
No, but Chef will hear him and say, "I'm on it, Furman." And holler at the teenager, "Y'all got any cheese? You got any taters?"
What is tater?
Potato. Boil them,
What
bake
is
them,
potato?
cook them in a stew.
What is potato?
It is a ground, air quotes, vegetable of the starch variety. Let me go check myself. It'll be easier that way.
You don't find potatoes, you do find a couple of different cheeses.
Hard cheese?
Yep.
Okay, I will cut him off a
Mostly hard cheeses.
big slice of a hard cheese, grab a couple of eggs, a little bit of bacon, cook the eggs and the bacon, melt the cheese, and lay it over top of it.
Okay.
as well as cook myself a second breakfast since mine got ate.
Luffman chef comes out of the back with a plate that is laden down with eggs and bacon and cheese.
Did you wash your
Ham.
paws?
Wash paws.
You know the rules.
Fine. Leftman sticks both his paws in his mouth, salivates on him,
Oh!
and then goes ahead, pulls them out, and then just rubs them on the top of his head to dry them off, pat dry. Washed and bathed.
Fair enough.
Leftman takes the plate, and he starts going to town.
All right, it's very good. That's all I got for you.
Leftman's just gonna go ahead and make a small comment towards everybody else. Anybody else want cheese?
I wouldn't mind some.
Is this like a block of cheese that Leftman has in front of him? What do we got?
Okay, if you would like to know, essentially what I did was took a pan and put several large slices until it became almost like a nacho style cheese, and then poured that over the top.
Okay.
Okay. Then in that case, Leftman's gonna say, "Well, now, chef."
Chef, can I get some as well?
Already on it.
Can you also do you know if there's any barley tea by any chance?
I'll be honest with you there, buddy. I don't know what the hell you're talking about with that one, but I will ask. He'll head back to the kitchen to get more cheese and ask about barley tea.
Tea, yes. Cheese, go ahead. Tea's in the back as well.
We'll grab and make him some tea. I have no idea what the hell barley tea is.
It's tea made with barley.
Yeah, I don't have any idea. He'll figure it out. He's getting tea. I'm assuming black or breakfast.
Yeah, it's it's black tea leaf. You find like loose black tea leaves just like in a sack. And you also find like barley grain. Once again, also just kind of loose.
Fuck it, we'll throw it in there. See what happens.
Like all at once? Okay.
I cook. I am not a sommelier.
Okay. Yeah, you grab about a tablespoon of each. You throw them into a cloth bag that you tie shut using a piece of twine. You get a pot of water boiling, then you drop the collection in, stir it a couple of times, and let it boil for about 10 minutes. Then the tea is a lovely orangey brown.
I guess I'll also make like a cheese plate. Is there any fruit back there?
Nope.
Any? So, yeah, no fruit. Tomatoes, fruit. So I'll make him a little cheese plate with it.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Aki's just gonna look at the mug that was served
and bask in the aroma.
It definitely smells like tea.
He's going to take the first sip
Jeff,
and
what's your lore cooking?
I am trained in lore cooking.
Yeah, but
Yep.
just like, what's the number?
3.
Okay. You take the first sip, and you were expecting a little bit more toast to come through, but the sweetness of the tea and the bitterness of the barley are counteracting each other a little bit. It's an interesting flavor.
it's close enough to what I was looking for, at least. Aki just uh he very graciously continues to drink the tea, and he will occasionally just munch at the snack
Mhm.
while he continues to just kind of thumb through his journal a little bit. And he goes, "Chef, thank you so much. I appreciate you doing all that for us this morning."
It's what I do there, buddy.
Still very kind of you for doing this to strangers, at least. Even though we've traveled for a while together, I still think that we're still getting to know each other a little bit more.
There's a
Well,
loud bang from the center of town.
I believe that there is the noise that we were looking for. Shall we, folks?
Yes. Inaki will just kind of pack up whatever he has around him. If there's some cheeses left over, he'll wrap it in like a cloth that he has in his sack and just pockets it for later.
Jeff, you wash your dishes before you wash all of the dishes that aren't cast iron frying pans before you make your way out. Yeah. The cast iron stuff you just wipe off carefully and then leave to hanging over the fire.
Yeah, I got in trouble for doing that once. Didn't know you weren't supposed to wash those.
Yeah, washing cast iron frying pan is bad time.
It's not very good.
I was trying
It's
to be
not.
helpful.
Turns out it's not very good for the pan.
No.
But thankfully Chef knows better and got chewed out for that when he was a small child.
Yes, that's a very quick way to make somebody who cooks wrathful.
Mhm. So yeah, Chef, you wash up, you clean up after yourself, and you make your way out along with the rest of everybody.
Lead on, Ayers. You're the one that got us at their invite.
Yes, I believe this is up your alley, Leftman.
Oh,
Where are we
Ex-
going?
Explosions?
what are we exploding?
Oh, help.
Our host invited us to go witness the explosions.
Well. Let's go. But first, more cheese. Chef, any left?
Aki will stop Chef and just pulls out the remaining cheese that he pocketed and hands it to Leftman.
How did you pocket liquid cheese?
It's
He
not
didn't. It's solid.
Oh, okay. As they walk on off, Leftman will be munching down on his cheese, making a nice meal snack out of it.
Yeah, it's good cheese.
So which way are we going?
In the direction of Boom.
I don't see Boom on the map.
Nor do I.
It's the
DM.
house with the smoke that's coming out of the chimney.
Uh,
or
Oh,
building.
that would make sense.
There is a second Boom coming from the center of town.
Okay, so not the chimney. Got it.
Vaguely here-ish.
Oops.
It's okay.
Leftman will start walking on out towards the direction of Boom.
What are we hunting? Boom. Where's that? In the direction of Boom.
Here, I can fix this. Hold on.
And you guys come up to what is it's a very large, it's a rectangular building. There's like a strange tower construction in the what is from your eyes the rear on the right. And it is I'm trying to think of how I want to say this. The roof is flat. Thank you. You have found the Boom. And out back there's a large pile of rocks and fencing. So what are you guys interested in doing?
Do we see any charred areas or
Yes.
okay. Um Aki is gonna avoid the charred areas and walk towards the building itself.
Okay.
And he's gonna just peek around the building to see if
So around back, kind of included in the fencing is the Minotaur that you met earlier yesterday.
My sugar
And
daddy.
yes.
just looking at the building, the walls are very thick.
Oh my.
He squints at you through large, through thick glasses that make his eyes bug out. Duh. He gestures for you to come closer. He has a quarterstaff in one hand that looks like that has like some kind of large metal tube on the end, and a spike opposite it. Welcome to my workshop.
Good morning. What exactly are you working on per se? Not that we couldn't tell from a distance, but
It's okay. It's okay. I know that you aren't used to the world of science and understanding.
I do like a man of science.
He chuckles a little bit to himself. So, you are here. How can I help you?
Well, we're
I would
Very-
like to point out that you guys are shouting like
Aki's gonna start walking
He's
towards
like nearly 100 feet away from you guys. You guys are shouting at each other.
Morning, Your
Aki
Highness.
walking.
He waves off the Your Highness part. Niet, niet. I am many things. Highness is not one of them.
I mean, based off of how tall you are.
I mean, you could take it literally if you would like.
I'm short for a minotaur.
You are significantly taller than I are.
That's not difficult. Oh, you mean for a human? Yes, you're rather large for a human.
We actually came to witness some of your.
We came to see the big booms.
Yes, what he said.
Do you want to see them or do you want to see how they are made?
Both.
All right. He pulls out a what looks to be like a steel ball about the size of Aki's head. Pulls out something that you guys would recognize as a tinder twig. Lights a small bit of rope and heaves the spear over at the rock. There's a very small delay, and then there is an earth-shattering blast.
Carmine sighed at that. Just straight up sighed. Purposely. Very loudly.
So that's the grenade.
Oh.
There are smaller ones. We are trying to build a larger one, but it runs into the problem of how do you throw them. Honestly, at this point, the best idea that we have is some kind of a catapult, but then it means that you need to set the fuse to be long enough for it to actually hit the target. The casing needs to be strong enough to actually penetrate whatever it is you are trying to destroy. Honestly, if they get much bigger than that, then the best answer is to place the explosive in advance.
Have you thought about using like a herder sling by chance?
Da, da.
Fair. No luck with that one.
It's the You mean... Alright, out of character, do you mean something like a shepherd's crook?
I mean something like David versus Goliath. Pouch on a rope, swing, let go of one rope, a herder sling.
Okay.
Which you use to fight things
I've
far
literally
away.
never heard it called that before.
Okay, my bad.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I'm just looking it up and I'm getting a bunch of like gun accessory stuff. We've tried it, but well, he pulls out a second one and he holds it out to you.
I'll try and grab it.
It weighs 15 or 20 pounds.
Okay,
Trying
so...
to get that up to speed.
Yeah, I see what you're saying there.
It's a little hard to get that, and also have the sling be portable, even for, well... And he holds up his hand and he splays out his fingers.
Ballista? You thought about a ballista?
We considered it, but at a certain point, the ballistic arc that comes from a catapult or trebuchet, it just becomes easier to work with. Honestly, like I said, at a certain point, this stops being a weapon of tactical combat and becomes a weapon of strategic warfare.
Why not utilize something kind of similar to a heavy crossbow?
We do, just not for these.
That's a ballista,
They need to
buddy.
be smaller. They need to be smaller. And then the question becomes, can you get it to fly in a straight line? We're working on that, but as for how it is made,
Might I possibly suggest something if you haven't tried it?
he leans his hand on the back, or he leans his head on the back of one hand and he grabs a hold of his elbow. Duh?
Perhaps a gun lance? Or a heavy bowgun?
What do you mean gun lance?
Oh, fuck. How the fuck do I describe a gun lance?
I don't know, that's why I'm asking you.
Fuck, I didn't use gun lance in Monster Hunter. Jay said.
I don't know,
Huh?
but the quarterstaff thing that's behind him, he's stuck into the ground using the back spike.
Um, how would you describe a gun lance?
Don't look at me.
I'm
My character
looking.
doesn't know.
Why did I do this to myself? Okay, so. I'm trying to think of how she would describe it as well.
So it's basically a
I'm like thinking of
cannon, a cannon that. So the best way that I could describe it based off of these pictures, because I know what you're talking about. I had to look at a physical picture, but it's
You want
essentially a giant rifle with a chamber that has.
It has a shield that's detachable, and it
Uh-huh.
comes with different
do
stances.
you want to pass it off to Leftman so he can explain, or do you want to explain it?
All right. What is a rifle?
It's a barrel that contains a firing mechanism. Except what I'm talking about is much bigger,
But
and you can
what
attach a shield to it.
attaching a shield seems somewhat counterproductive.
It's more of a you guard quite often because you could be heavily targeted, so you're more in the back lines. But you
If
have the
something is
range.
close enough to attack to strike you while you're using a firearm, you have already made a mistake.
Well, that's why typically users are farther in the back.
But if they're farther in the back, then they don't need the shield.
And then that's why you guard with the shield if it's close.
But if they're far enough away that they cannot attack you, then what do you need to guard with the shield for?
I don't know, I'm not a gun lance user, Monster Hunter, I don't know.
I don't know what you're speaking through.
Um, I don't know how else to describe it. I really don't. I'm trying my best, dude. Like I'm. Oh, jeez.
I think what Miss Carmine might be trying to explain, and this is just speculation.
Oh no, she has his attention. It's just a question of can
Had-
you how do you describe the combination that is the gun lance?
As Leftman is just listening to all of this, he's kind of like mocking up in his massive grimoire book on a blank sheet, just marking things up of kind of descriptions of what Carmine's trying to say, making a draft essentially, right?
Duh.
And he feels like he gets to an end to where it kind of explains pretty well, and it's like a almost exploded view of the model. And he flips the grimoire over and he says, "It's like this. See, big barrel, right? Nice, long, but the exterior barrel, right? Think of stick, but it's hollowed out.
Duh.
He says, however, this stick, it's metal. So it's like a pipe, hollow pipe. On the exterior, you add metal, right? It's like a lance. Think
Okay.
of a spear. Um, he says, however, the exterior of this, well, lances generally have a tendency to go ahead and be pointy at the front, and they kind of increase in size on the back half.
Duh.
I said, now, I don't know exactly how it is that she's trying to make the shield work, because I agree. Why do you need a shield if you're all the way in the back? But yet again, why do you have a lance if you're not meant to be in the front? So I guess I get it. Sure, there could be two ways.
It's a multi-purpose weapon.
You can either produce a shield, like any other shield, have them hold it. Or I suppose the next option is that you just make a shield around the thickest portion of the lance. And, well, I guess the only thing there is that you can't block any chance for them to be able to see in front of them. So I suppose the shield is really just for their extremities and not really for them and their head.
Mm.
That's all I got. I don't know what else to say. Carmine, and points at Carmine. It's kind of what you're looking at.
She's gonna kind of like take a peek at the notebook. Uh, yeah, Sebastian, didn't our the knights used to use something like this, right? I was right, right? Like this. He drew it almost perfectly.
They used the crossbow.
Oh,
I mean,
Uh,
Sebastian pokes his head up out of the bucket. Hey, big guy. Not the guy with the hat, the really big guy. Why don't you show us the thing that's stuck in the ground behind you? And he reaches back behind him. And he flips it around in front of you. And so the hunk of metal at one end is in fact hollow. So this is my cannon. and he reaches down, and on the opposite side from all of his grenades, he's got he pulls out like a packet of something that's been packed packed away with paper. He rips off one end, and he pours some like black. It almost looks like grains of sand down into it. Taps it on the ground 2 or 3 times. Pulls out a hunk of metal, shoves the paper in to the pipe, and then he puts this ball of metal down into it, reaches back down again, and pulls out a smaller rod of metal, tamps everything down together, pulls out another tinder twig, points the whole contraption at the target that is somehow miraculously still standing. And it does this. Lights the fuse on the end of the, kind of in the middle of the barrel. There is a loud bang about 10 feet away from you guys. There's a flash of light, a puff of smoke, and the target way down over here gets knocked over. So it sounds to me like this what is the word you called it? Gun lance?
Yes.
Has some mechanism to fire repeatedly, but is broadly speaking this with a blade attached.
Yes.
Oh, that's much easier to do.
It's just a suggestion, of course. You don't have to do
It's
it
a
or
thought.
anything.
It's a thought. It's speaking frankly, it's a thought that we already had. But you saw how long it took to reload. Yes,
Yes.
that is why we attached the blade. Not to this one, of course. This one is for testing purposes. But he once again sticks it into the ground. Come into the building. I will show you the workshop. He starts making his way out of the firing range and starts heading in towards the building. So, firstly, do you have any questions?
Um, Mainly, what's the source of the explosion?
Do you want me to tell you or do you want me to show you?
Show us.
I'm with Lepman.
So, the first thing you must understand is that things that I am about to show you may be dangerous. So, if you are hurt, it is your fault and not mine.
Fair
And he
enough.
Oh,
points,
trust me, I
and he
will get
points with
hurt.
one hand at Jinx and one hand at Carmine, but he's talking to all of you. Excellent. Come. So as for he walks over and he grabs Jinx by the back collar.
I was just looking.
So, and he walks in past you. The first thing you'll need to understand is that this is the manufacturing site for the entire process. This is where we make the powder. This is where we make the weapon. This is where we do the forging. This is the everything. First of all, we must go upstairs. This, and he takes you guys through what appears to be a well-designed, well thought out, but ultimately fairly standard weaponsmith setup. I do not have a map for upstairs. Then he takes you guys down here into a little alcove where there are steps up to a open terrace, and the tower that I mentioned earlier has a door coming out here, and now the door is marked storage. The first thing that we need is charcoal. And it requires a specific kind of charcoal.
Leftman is taken.
It needs to be very pure. It needs to be and we heat and so in order to make this, we burn wood in a large pit that we have covered over with clay. And in the kiln, when you burn it, that removes the water, that removes any other impurities, and ultimately you are only left with the charcoal. We let that we let that cool overnight. We break it into powder. We use a we use this is going to sound absolutely insane. We use the juice from a yellow citric fruit.
So
I'm sorry,
like,
I am having to do a whole lot more digging into the chemistry of how to make gunpowder than I expected to be.
so like a citric acid, if you will.
Yeah. And but recently we've been experimenting and we've been getting really effective, and we've been trying something using aqua regia that we are minimizing with quicklime, or that we are neutralizing with the byproduct of quicklime and water. And so when you so we take the byproduct of these things, we mix it up with water, and we soak the charcoal powder in that, and then we bake all of the water out of it once again. Similarly in the kilns. And so you need saltpeter, you need the charcoal, as I mentioned. Then you also need powdered sulfur. And this, unfortunately, we have to import at this point. But that is because the Kinclave are the only places that have it.
So what's all in this upper room?
The upper room is less a room and more just four walls and no ceiling. And it is filled with glassware. And the furnace down below, it feeds into another furnace up above. And every time you reach out to touch something, he like picks you up and moves you further away from it during this entire conversation.
And that's all she's trying to do. She is
Mhm.
she is bored, she is tuned out, she stopped listening, she's going, ooh, that's shiny. Let me look at this.
And it takes roughly 2 parts sulfur to 3 parts charcoal to 15 parts saltpeter. Then you just mix it all up. And then you do not, under any circumstances, heat it.
Eat it. Got it.
Do not, under any circumstances, heat it, because it will go boom.
Use it like pepper. It's
That's certainly a
spicy.
choice. That is certainly a choice. At this point, leaving all of the material together is how the process goes. Generally, the finer the sieve, the better, and the finer the powder, the better. But the one thing that he lets you touch looks like a metal barrel with a handle attached, and you just spin the handle and it spins the barrel. And
Neat.
we use this for mixing, we use this for grinding occasionally, because the various materials will all grind each other down to a finer powder. And honestly, most of the time I just ask one of the assistants to do it for 10 hours a day. Or if somebody makes a mistake or annoys me. And then he shrugs.
So what made you think of this exactly?
Sulfur smelled funny. Saltpeter smelled funny. And when I was growing up, I liked burning things.
Fair.
Yeah.
And it just so happened that you found out that it caused the explosions.
Yes, that was a fun day.
Um, curious though. Uh, has this been requested by someone to make
Only me.
a list? Okay. Well, Leftman, what do you think?
I think that it's absolutely something we can use.
Hmm.
I
So,
also think that this is
listen.
something that you can definitely fearmonger with.
Alas, my enemies are already ahead of you on that. So, Leftman, I have shared my secrets. What are yours?
Mine? Well, they're not much of a secret. I make games. And I didn't really use the bombs for the best of things. Orphanage here, orphanage there, little arsenic or well, what's the word I'm looking for? A little arson there, arson here. Put it fairly, I was not the best of people, and I can't say I am still. But well, here I am. I make bombs, I chuck them.
What kind of bomb?
Well, there's some I specialize in, but I'll make just about anything. I'm really great at this stuff. And he opens up his grimoire and he starts flipping through pages in front of him. Look at that one. Like that one right here. It's basically a sticky bomb. Sticks to them. Great stuff.
Very interesting.
He flips through more and he's like, this right here
Da?
freezes them. It's great.
Can you teach me how to make that?
Absolutely. Anytime you want, I'll spend a couple
Right
hours.
now.
I'll show you how to make it.
Right
And
now.
he says, right now,
Right now.
give me a workbench, some ingredients. I'll make them
We've
for you.
got them downstairs.
I'll even write down the list for you of what you need.
Excellent.
Give you a copy. Although I don't think you'll be able to read my rat scratch.
It's a little small.
Well, you might want to write it in your own handwriting then. I
Da.
can't write bigger than that.
Da. Yeah, you
Keep
guys go down there. There's an alchemical workbench over here. He's like got a chalkboard up on the wall. He's copying down all of your steps that you're doing. There's a
keep
store.
hype.
You run into the storage shed or the storage tower. It has everything that you could have wanted. He's got Jinx up on his shoulder. Keep her from running around.
While he sees this
She is
entire
playing with the
stockpile,
Minotaur's horns and just kind of scratching his head and giving him a scalp massage.
That is perfectly fine.
While they are doing this, can Bob go shopping and get blood sausage and a variety of cheeses that he will hide from everyone for the road?
Yeah.
I will be doing that.
All right. Aki, Karmi, Jinx, you're in your happy place. You're playing with something interesting, and he makes the Kinyas makes occasionally appreciative noises. Aki, Carmine, you are watching two nerds nerd out over nerd shit.
Aki is actually gonna volunteer to write down the instructions on bigger paper in cleaner
Oh no,
handwriting.
he's got a
Oh,
chalkboard.
he has got that? Okay.
He's got a chalkboard. He's going. Charming.
Just gonna sit back and watch then.
Yeah, you guys are in a Minotaur scaled workshop. Is there anything that you're particularly interested in doing?
I mean, aside from that, I'm just talking to him, saying, "Tell you what, you keep showing me things, I show you things, and I think we could have a pretty good, dare I say, friendship."
Well, let me copy down all of any gestures at the blackboard into the collection, and after that, how about we discuss a problem that I've been having?
Problems, I like them. I eat them like any other meal.
I don't think that this is a problem that you can eat. He goes into the storage with Jinx, and he pulls out a large book that he opens with loving care to a blank page, and he starts copying down all of the information that Lefman has given him on the theory behind making freeze bombs. Um, and when he's done with that, he blows gently on it. Little one, would you like to help me?
Sure.
And he reaches onto the desk and he pulls up like a pickle jar full of a really fine sand of really fine fixative sand. Would you like to add sand to the workshop? To the workshop? To the journal? To the collection?
He's gonna take both hands and do two fistfuls and just kind of put it everywhere over the book.
And you sprinkle it once, sprinkle it twice, you reach in for a third handful and sprinkle it a third time. Magnificent. And he takes you over to the forge and opens the forge. Billowing heat comes out. It almost singes you. Then he holds the book in front of you and he blows all of the excess sand into the forge before he shuts it. Danke. And he puts the book away. So, Miss Carmen, yes?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think of the workshop?
I do appreciate the efficiency and cleanliness. I do quite like that in a person. It reflects who they are as well. For example, our dear rat friend here is very on the spot and quite messy, which I understand can be practical in some situations, but having a wonderful home base such as this with such exploration is quite exquisite, such as one of yourself.
I don't live here. This is the
No, but you
workshop.
do work here.
I could live here.
I'm not talking to you.
I concur.
You see what I
How
gotta
one
deal
treats
with?
one's surroundings is how one treats oneself. And so, he wipes the blackboard clean. My problem. Earlier I was showing you my musket, yes?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
The problem, and he starts drawing up a schematic of the musket entirely from memory, is that how long a reloading takes. You'll need to pack the powder, and he starts drawing the powder in. It's just little dots and then a little line. And then the wadding, and then there's another little line, and in between he writes in like paper, surrounded by other little lines. And then, and only then, the projectile, the ball. And he draws in a little ball. The powder is touched off by the fuse. The fuse travels all the way through, And after every single shot, the fuse needs to be replaced, the powder needs to be replaced, the wadding needs to be replaced, and the ball needs to be replaced.
Why not just pack it all in one encasement?
Leffman took my thoughts exactly.
If you had to put it all
Left.
in the barrel in one go, right? Could you
Yeah.
not say put it in its own casing of some sorts, and then you only got the one thing? Whether or not you can make it repeat, well, that's a problem we got to get down the line. But this is the problem at hand. And Leftman takes the piece of chalk or piece of chalk, and starts scribbling on the board, basically just making a rectangle without its fourth side. So just a box without a lid. And he's like, all right. And he uses roughly about the same diagram as he has inside of the diagram that he's got. If this is your ball, which we can say safely would be projectile.
Yeah.
He says, now here's your wadding, your
Yeah.
powder. Now the fuse, well, the fuse is normally outside, but what if we can make a fuse on the inside of it that gets ignited with another mechanical section? And he's just writing out or drawing out to the best that he can a very rough sketch and concept. Now, the idea here is you take all those steps and you've already pre-packaged them. And all you have to do is put in the one object over, say, the 5 steps we had to take just a little while ago while we were looking at it.
Yeah.
So if you can say pre-package, and all you have to do is shove it into the barrel, set it off, then you're essentially cutting down your time to shoot off more by, one could say, almost the full minute.
You could also always attach a blade to the end of your deer musket there, in case things go wrong.
No, we've been known to do that in the past. So let me see if I understand what you are making the argument of. And he starts to draw. He draws. You know what we're gonna do? We're going to a blank page. He
Great
draws
idea.
that. You guys are going to realize this was a terrible idea. Very, very quickly, because I cannot draw to save my life. We were discussing doing something like having the ball, and then having the wadding, then having the powder, then having the fuse. All in a self-contained environment.
Yes.
Hmm.
I was also thinking, not to cut in,
Yeah?
another idea, since you brought up the issue of distance. What if instead of a ball shape
Yeah?
for longer distance, if we're going with the idea of far distances, the closest that I can relate to is an arrow. So instead of a ball shape, what if you do something a little more pointed? If it's pointed, it might need less.
You mean something like that? Almost like a teardrop?
Yes.
Hmm.
Since you were worried about trying to get it to go in a straight line,
The challenge that we have been experiencing is that the balls they rotate, they tumble almost as they fly through the air. And for the ball to be pointed enough to stabilize, it would also need to be either flattened. So instead of being rounded, it looks like that. Or what if we made it rotate very quickly? This, and he touches the cartridge idea that you had. Left. This is an excellent idea. I only have one question.
Yeah,
The
I might have
casing.
an answer.
The casing. Do you envision this being something that is reusable or something that is not?
I suppose that really is based off of what the casing's made out of.
Well, yeah, that's why I'm asking.
Preferably reusable. If you were able to reuse it, less on cost, easily manufactured. Probably won't have to spend too much money to make more, right?
Yeah. Making things requires resources.
Yeah. So the idea would be, I suppose it'd be better for it to be reusable.
And then how do we remove the casing after the shot has been fired?
Could make an internal mechanism that goes ahead and, well, levers it out if you would. If we can precisely craft and make what is essentially a repeating machine to maybe not load these cartridges, but to at least extract these cartridges, then it would make less time to reload. which
Hmm.
means faster output per soldier.
I will have to think about this a great deal. And plan. But you are my guests, and it is wrong to ask you to do work for me. And so, thank you very much. This has been my workshop, and you have been. And he grabs a hold of Jake's before she gets into trouble again. Wonderful guests, and your company has been extremely pleasurable. Is there anything else I can do to help you today?
Surely there is one more idea. You
Da?
mentioned spinning these balls, projectiles, whatever it may be, at a
Da?
fast rate on a short time.
Da?
I can think of one thing. Think of a screw and a
Da?
bolt, right?
Mhm.
You have threads. These
Yeah.
threads, well, there's one side that's threaded, the other side that's the opposite. It fits perfectly. You can spin it.
Da?
What if you thread the inside of whatever you're shooting this thing out of, and maybe it'll work? And he grabs the chalk and he draws what is essentially a cut side, and he's creating like little lines. Kind of like this if you were looking at it from the inside, but I would suppose that this would be, you know, like how you have right now. It's cylindrical object with a hole in it, and then you would just have to thread the inside. Make these grooves.
The ball would need to compress from the force of the powder in order to fill them. Maybe if I made them out of something softer in the iron. Perhaps brass? No.
Isn't copper more
Lead?
malleable?
Copper is
Lead?
more malleable, but I want something more.
Lead's malleable.
Copper is valuable. I want something that is not valuable. After all, copper is used to make coin. Recall. And yeah, da. Lead would work. Lead would work, I think. So I thank each and every one of you. And now, little one. Next, that means you.
Hey.
That table here,
Yes.
that one won't hurt you if you play with the things on it.
Sweet. She goes immediately over there and starts picking things up. And, ooh, what does this do?
It is all smithing tools. They are all large and heavy enough that you basically need both hands to lift them. Because once again, they're sized for a minotaur.
Yep. So she
Um,
picks up one hammer and she's like, she's lopsided and staggering from one side to the other, and
all right.
it falls over onto the table, and she kind of jerks to the front and is like, "Okay, what's this?" and goes on to the next item.
Da. So, Mr. Aki,
Yes.
Is there anything else that you would like to see around here?
Um, not necessarily here. I'm actually looking for someone that is supposedly here, and the only clue that I have to go on is this particular feather. He pulls out his brooch and shows the colorful feather.
Interesting.
And I've been told something about an academy.
Tower Place. So, I regret to tell you that I do not know the person whom you seek. However, I will make a note to ask to spread among the town and let it be known among the guards that anyone who is not you and has a feather of such veracity of colors, cavalcade, one might even say, is to be questioned and perhaps even detained. That?
Yeah.
Da.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Lacho is not the largest town on the island, but we are at something of a crossroad, and we will see traffic, particularly to and from Tower Place. What I will tell you, the academy that was mentioned, you head out on the eastern road, and you travel until you find swamp, and then you keep going, and there will be more swamp, and you keep going, and eventually you will find a massive tower, and surrounding it a a wretched hive of squalor and villainy and goblins.
Go.
And he will fit right in. And he points over a left. And other than everything being very, very small, they aren't all that bad.
I mean, looks can be deceiving, as I've read.
Looks can be deceiving, but I did not fit through the doors. And I was a juvenile at the time.
Guessing it's not made for minotaurs.
Very much not so. Not quite as bad as the Freetowns, those gnomish bastards, but very much not paid for. There's a reason that I late. There's a reason, well, that and nearly dying the 3 times, that I had the top roof taken off. I like
Mm,
to be I like to be able to see the sky.
that's fair. Being able to see the sky
Traditionally
and the sun.
Minotaurs practice sky burial. We just leave the dead out on the hill.
Let the natural world take what we have left behind.
He shrugs. I'm certainly not going to be using it.
Where I'm from, we do the same thing too.
Interesting. Interesting.
We
Left me back from
typically
the bathroom.
No, Leftman is still currently
Thank you.
indisposed.
I apologize, Aki. I cut you off there.
No, you're okay. Aki just goes, typically it's a 2 to 3 day process and service. It's more of honoring what the person that had passed, what they were able to give to the world, and it's a lot of remembrance of we shouldn't take too much and we should give back when we can.
Yeah, my parents taught me that um, the body is merely a vessel for the spirit. And so once the spirit passes along, well, what uses the body?
That's fair.
So when my father passed, I carried him to the, well, it translates as carried him to the mountain, but honestly, we just use a large rock. But honestly, we just use the rock that we broke off, that one off of. And he points at the very large rock he uses as the backstop on the firing range. It's about 3 days, and he points off to the northwest.
Is that typically your tradition?
When I have a son, he will carry me to the same place. It's part of the process that Slacho has established for becoming Kinyas. You must do it on your own. You may not ask for help, and you may not use tools. And you must do it in less than 3 days.
Ours is less of a task as it is more so of a rebonding.
Yeah. I look forward to the day when I start to put on weight to make it harder for my sons. So, Mr. Leftman, is there anything else I can do to help you?
Honestly, I think that's it for now. Keep me updated.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
if I say need items, will I be able to come here and get those items?
Are you talking about making them for yourself, or are you talking about purchasing?
Well, preferably making them for myself. But I guess if purchasing's the only option, then I'm sure we could figure something out.
You can purchase anything for the right coin, and as for crafting it for yourself, well, let's just say that if I teach that I let you into my workshop, and I expect payment that may or may not necessarily be.
Understood.
Perhaps it will be services, perhaps it will be knowledge. Perhaps, and he gestures at the blackboard, it will be ideas.
Ideas I can do. Services, well, that really depends on the service. There's a couple services I'm never doing again. Said it was a one-time thing, and I can't go back.
I may govern. I know I may not act like it all the time, but I do represent the government, and what government doesn't have need of mercenaries occasionally?
Ah, well, I'm sure this group will love to help.
Da, da.
Anyways, thank you
Jinx
for
picks
everything.
up another
And
another heavy object and like, I can help. She kind of teeters from one side to the other, holding one of the tools as a weapon.
You're holding that upside down.
I'm gonna lean in and
Oh.
say and whisper, "Be careful with that one. She means well, but she's not really there."
Not next to the gunpowder. It will be okay.
She drops the item and just kind of looks at him.
Donk. Da. You're not trying to climb into the furnace, and you're nowhere near the gunpowder. I'm not particularly concerned about you hurting my tools. The fragile ones are hanging on the wall above your reach.
I am a good climber. I'm trying to be good.
You're succeeding. You're doing well.
Sorry, Leslin. Didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good. You get used to it.
Jinx goes up to the Minotaur and just throws her arms around a leg, gives him a hug, and goes, "Thank you. That was fun."
You're very welcome. It appears that your compatriot has returned from wherever he was during the brainstorming session. Setting out the discussion. Perhaps you should go out and see what he has been getting up to.
I was so sidetracked, I didn't even notice that Chef was gone.
Da?
Okay, bye. She goes out, goes looking for Chef.
All right. Yeah, Chef, you're back at this point. Gentlemen, do you mind keeping her out of trouble? I am worried about the two of them getting up to something.
We'll do the best we can.
Thank you. That is all I will ever ask of you.
I do have a question for you, if you don't mind.
Yes, of course. I may or may not have an answer.
You spoke of your admiration for the sky. Do you have
Yeah?
a preferred time to view the sky?
Dawn and dusk.
Hmm. Interesting, interesting. I will take that into account. Thank you, my dear. And she's gonna give him a good old wink and walk out to run after
Come with me.
Jinx. Oh, never mind. She will not walk.
Arnie, come with me.
Okay.
He walks back upstairs with you.
Okay.
He leads the way once again. I have a question for you.
Yes.
Who's paying you to try to seduce me? And he turns around and he has a very large knife in his hands. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. That is where we are going to call it for this session. And we'll pick back up maybe not next week. I have a lot of things going on in my life in the coming week. So the 25th of August is going to be an audible, and if the audible is no, then we'll see what we can do about September the 1st. Thank you all very much for coming out and joining me. I really appreciate it. It's always a pleasure. And Carmine, if it makes you feel any better, I didn't plan this until 2 days ago.
It's
So
okay.
bye.
Yeah.
We love you. Have a great one. Like, comment, subscribe, all that bullshit. Bye.
Take care of each other out there, folks.
Bye.